This lesson is on the order of operations, because sometimes you have to do more than one operation to solve a problem. Suppose there's 2 or 3 or 4 steps. Operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division if you aren't familiar with the term. But there is a specific order that you do the operations in. It's a specific order that we follow, and here they are. The first thing you do is all operations that are in parentheses. Now remember, parentheses are grouping symbols, and I'll show you some on the next board. The second thing you do is all work that has exponents. The third thing you do is you multiply and or you divide it from left to right. That's really, really important because multiplication and division are equally important. So you always just go from left to right. And lastly, you do add and or subtract, again, from left to right. So the order of operations are parentheses first, exponents second, multiply or divide third, and add or subtract last. There's an easy way to remember it. It's please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, where the P stands for parentheses, the E stands for exponents, the M and D stand for multiplication or division, and again from left to right, and then the A and S stand for addition or subtraction. So here's an example of an expression or a problem that needs to be solved. 9 plus 5 times 6. An expression is made up of numbers and operation symbols. So that's just what we call this problem, is an expression. According to the order of operations, I'm going to see if there are parentheses. Notice there are no parentheses here. Again, parentheses are the marks that look like this. There are no exponents on this problem. So I keep on moving down the list here, and I'm going to do multiplication or division if there is any. And so I have 5 times 6. That comes before addition, so I'm going to do 5 times 6 first. And I'm just going to bring this down. I don't do anything with it but rewrite it. So I have 9 plus, and then I do 5 times 6, which is 30. So then 9 plus 30, it's a new problem. 9 plus 30 is 39. So I have followed the order of operations. Sometimes they'll ask you to evaluate the expression. That just means find the value of it. Sometimes they'll ask you to simplify. And simplify just means make the problem simpler. Get rid of all the symbols, the operation symbols. It's another way of saying work this problem. So this time we have 6 plus 18 divided by 3 times 2. We're going to go through the order of operations because we always use the order of operations all the time, not just some of the time. Not just when it's a problem that looks like it's an order of operations problem. We always follow the order of operations if there's more than one operation that we have to do in a problem. And in this particular problem, there are parentheses around 6 plus 18. So even though this is addition, and addition comes as one of the last things, it doesn't come last when it's in parentheses. So we're going to do 6 plus 18 first, and we get 24. Then I just bring down everything else. So basically I make a new problem. Here's my new problem. 24 divided by 3 times 2. I just brought everything else down. And now I have division and multiplication. And we come over here to our little helpful hint, and we remember that multiplication and division are equally important. And when that's the case, we go from left to right. So in this problem, we're going to do the division first. So we do 24 divided by 3, which is 8, and I bring down the rest of the problem, times 2. So now I bring this to, becomes 8, and then 8 times 2 is my new problem, and 8 times 2 equals 16. Now, the same exact problem, I want you to notice that again, this same exact set of numbers, same exact operations, except this time the problem changes where the parentheses are. So let's look. This time the parentheses are around 18 divided by 3. The parentheses say, do this first. So I follow the order of operations, and I'm going to look and see if there are parentheses. If there are parentheses, I do them first, and there are 18 divided by 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6, so I rewrite everything else. I bring 6 plus down. I do 18 divided by 3 and I get 6. And then I bring down the times 2. So now I have a new problem. 6 plus 6 times 2. and then I follow the order of operations. There are no exponents in this problem. Is there multiplication and division? Yes, there's multiplication, so I'm going to do that next. So I'm going to bring down what I'm not messing with right now, 6 plus, and then I'm going to do this 6 times 2, which is 12. So now I have 6 plus 12, a whole new problem, but I'm simplifying it, simplifying it, simplifying it, and 6 plus 12 is 18. So those two answers are different, and the only thing that changed was the parentheses. Let's look at another one. Again, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. This time we have 9 minus 6 in parentheses to the second power times 6 plus 3. So again, we do the parentheses first, and then we're going to do the exponents. Parentheses first. So 9 minus 6 equals 3. It's still to the second power times 6 plus 3. So now I have a new problem. The only thing that's changed is what was in parentheses. I move on to exponents. There are exponents, so I do those next. So I'm going to do 3 to the second power. Remember, 3 to the second power means 3 times 3, and that equals 9. That's another symbol for multiplication in case you didn't remember that. And so now I have 9, and then I bring down everything else just like it was. Times 6 plus 3. So here's my new problem. 9 times 6 plus 3. I'm going to do multiplication or division next. And so in this case, there's multiplication. So I do 9 times 6, and that equals 54. And I bring down the plus 3. I have a new problem. 54 plus 3 equals 57. Notice I basically worked until I got rid of every operation symbol, and I finally had a final answer. And so that is the value of this expression. Let's look at a few others. 200 minus 99 divided by 3 times 2. Now we've already seen some like this, but remember there's not always these characteristics. There are not always parentheses in a problem. There are not always exponents in a problem. But in this problem we have subtraction, division, and multiplication. And there are no parentheses, there are no exponents. There's division and there's multiplication. And when that happens, I go from left to right, just like I read from left to right. So which comes first here? Is it the multiplication or is it the division? It's the division. So I do it first. So I'm going to do 99 divided by 3, which is 33, and I rewrite everything else. 200 minus 33 times 2. See how I brought everything else down? So now I have a brand new problem. And in this brand new problem, I have subtraction and multiplication. And I come back to the order of operations and I determine which one do I do first. And multiplication comes before subtraction, so I'm going to do 33 times 2, which is 66. Bring down the 200 in the subtraction sign. And so now I have a whole new problem. I got rid of another operation symbol, and now I just have to do 200 minus 66. I had to work it over here. And I got 134 for my final answer. And here's one last problem, and I just wanted to point it out that notice that the subtraction comes before addition here, the division comes before multiplication here, and whenever that happens, I always follow the order of operations from left to right. We know multiplication and division comes before addition and subtraction, but it doesn't mean that multiplication always comes before division because they're equally important. That's why they're both written on this same line. So if I were to work this problem, I'm going to do this division before I multiply. So I rewrite 6 minus 4 plus, and then 8 divided by 2 is 4 times 3. So now I have a new problem. It's got subtraction, addition, and multiplication. Multiplication is still more important than addition or subtraction, so I'm going to do 4 times 3 first. I'm going to rewrite this though. 6 minus 4 plus, and then 4 times 3 is 12. And then again, I follow the order of operations. I have subtraction and addition left, but I go from left to right. So the subtraction comes before the addition in this problem from left to right, so I do it first. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 plus 12, I just bring that down, is 14. And so my final answer is 14. So just remember to please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. The way we make a peanut butter sandwich, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, we don't spread the peanut butter and the jelly on our hands and then get out the bread. There is a specific order that we follow in order to have the finished product. Well, it's the same thing here. We've got to follow a specific list of rules in order to evaluate expressions or find answers to problems that have more than one operation symbol.